Ladies and gentlemen, so is the kingdom of God as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up. He doesn't know how. For the earth brings forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. But when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he puts in the sickle into the ground. That's the man, because the harvest is come. You don't know how you got life. Well, you know your mother and father did something, but I'm saying, you don't know how life came into you. You can't sustain yourself, but yet you can bring forth fruit. And the bottom line of this whole thing is, in life, somebody will breathe life into you, but it must bring forth fruit. And it's up to you to allow that to happen. All right? And you will plant seed into someone else's life, but again, you have no control over how that is done. What you have control over is when the fruit comes forth, that you bless other people with it. So I hope that you guys understand. Now let's get into the boxing. So there are these so-called purists who said this fight was not worth it. It's a fraud, like Oscar De La Hoya is saying. I was one who said, I'm not going to watch that fight, man. That's a mismatch. But actually, in retrospect, looking at the fight, I realized I was wrong. And of course, some of these so-called boxing purists don't know shit about boxing. If they did, they wouldn't say what they said. So here's what some of the experts in the field of boxing had to say about the fight and Floyd Mayweather's performance of the fight. Let's go.
Was Floyd good tonight? He won the fight. Was Floyd Mayweather good tonight?
He was what he had to be. His character, his championship character, and his big advantage of experience and belief in himself in this kind of format allowed him to dominate the guy in a way that he usually doesn't dominate guys. He was able to pull that ace out of the deck when he had to.
I very respectfully disagree.
Okay, before Stephen A. Smith disagrees with Teddy Atlas, I agree with Teddy. The only difference is I don't think that Floyd was forced to do that. I think that was what the game plan was. All right, let's go.
Floyd was great
with
tonight.
This expert right here, Floyd was not great tonight. He wasn't sharp tonight, and the reason why I say that wasn't.
I didn't say he was great.
I know that. But you say he said it was what
No,
he
his
needs to be.
championship
But let me explain.
quality allowed him to do what he
Let me
did.
explain what I mean. It wasn't just that Floyd was missing. He was missing against a guy who had his arms down, who didn't have a lot of head movement, who didn't have the greatest defense in the world. Now, if Conor was moving, had a lot of head and body movement, and he was shifting and what have you, and because of that he was difficult to hit, I would sit up there and say, okay, that was what it was. But the problem is that Conor was standing there, relatively stationary. Arms were down, and when he put his arm out, he wasn't even putting the jab out, he was just going like this. And by the way, to throw a jab, you got to pull it. You know this better than me. You got to pull your arm back in and throw the jab.
Okay, Stephen A. Smith is all kinds of wrong there. But let me let Vladimir Klitschko answer that.
Man kann sagen, in den ersten Runden kann man sagen, so beschreiben, ja, man hat den Ringrost gesehen, aber auf der anderen Seite, McGregor ist nicht so leicht
He's
zu
saying
boxen
McGregor's
gewesen,
not
weil
an
er
easy
ständig
opponent to box
schlägt.
against.
Floyd hat Respekt gehabt von den Schlägern, weil
So he was quick.
er hat den Punch in linken und
Said
rechten
he had
Hand,
power,
McGregor, und kann
both in the
fürchterlich
right and left,
zuschlagen. Das hat
switching
auch
stances.
Mayweather
He has some strength.
sag ich mal so, vorsichtiger gemacht. Und letztendlich, ob das der Ringrost gewesen, ob das der Stil von McGregor gewesen, das können wir
Now
jetzt
you see
noch
the
spekulieren. Am Ende des Tages, was Floyd Mayweather auch gesagt hat am Ende, ein Sieg ist ein Sieg. Ich glaube, man hat schon erwartet, dass Floyd Mayweather gewinnt. Ich habe persönlich nie gedacht, dass McGregor so gut aussehen wird. Vor allem in den ersten Runden
Said
hat
McGregor had
echt
beautiful
ein gutes
boxing.
Boxen gezeigt. Hat sich genau auf die Regeln geachtet und eigentlich das war ein sauberes Boxen. Unglaublich, aber das von einem.
And he said he didn't expect that from a UFC fighter. So clearly Vladimir Klitschko, who would know about rangy fighting from a distance, and you just look at this little diagram here, you see Conor McGregor using his reach, his range here. You see it in the picture there, and that's the problem. McGregor's an extremely long guy, and he was actually very sensibly using his reach and range, and then he could switch hit on top of that, had quick feet, as Vladimir Klitschko was saying, had quick feet so he can get into position different places, and he used to move to the weak side of Floyd and try and land punches there, okay? So Conor McGregor was difficult, he was awkward, as Paulie Malignaggi says, the first 4 rounds he realized how difficult he could be. because you're not used to his style. And that's the key point here. McGregor brought something new to the table of boxing in that he brought a style that was something Floyd hadn't seen before. So Floyd had to feel him out and make sure he was tiring out and stuff. So when Stephen A. Smith says that he was standing in front of him and his hands were down, guess what, folks? Thomas the Hitman Hearns stood in front of people with his hands down, but he had quick feet. He had quick reflexes. By the way, Conor stood straight up, just like Vladimir Klitschko. Not a whole lot of head movement because it's hard for you to get your punches up there. And Teddy Atlas would tell you, and even Emmanuel Stewart would tell you, when you're boxing and you're a tall guy, make the most of your height because it's hard to punch upwards, first of all, and then to close that distance because you are longer than that guy. It's very difficult to do. So Stephen A. Smith, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. The other thing that Conor McGregor was doing so brilliantly that Tyson Fury does as well is he was disrupting Floyd's rhythm. If you listen to Sugar Ray Leonard and Kenny Smith, I think is his name, or something Kenny from ESPN, they were talking about how Conor was disrupting Floyd's rhythm as Floyd would try to come in on him. And he was also counterpunching Floyd as Floyd came in. You remember that uppercut? You remember those counter double uppercut. He hit him with a double uppercut one time. When Floyd tried to get past the jab, he would hook off the jab as well. So there's a lot of things. Check hook. He did all kinds of things. So Conor McGregor has a lot of skill. He just didn't have the experience. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't have the experience going the distance, and he didn't have the experience getting walked down. Conor's not used to being walked down, just like how Sergey Kovalev wasn't used to being walked down, right? You push a guy that's usually used with his power and stuff to bully people backwards. Conor does fight counterpunching. He doesn't fight when you come in on him. Even so, Floyd, had other tools. He's bob and weave, dip, all of that kind of stuff. So when he says that Conor McGregor wasn't moving a whole lot, I'm like, what? And he changed head slots a lot. And he even leaned in, used virtual distance on Floyd. So I don't know where Stephen A. Smith is getting his information from, but he's wrong. Anyway, Teddy Atlas will correct him. Here we go.
So I'm looking at all of these things and your inability to still hit him with the degree of consistency and accuracy I'm accustomed to seeing.
Here's what happened. What I'm saying is McGregor forced a gourmet chef to be a fast order cook. That's what he did. He forced a gourmet chef to be a guy.
So that's a good point. He basically, Conor McGregor, his style, Floyd moved from a gourmet chef, which is he takes his time and he, paints a beautiful picture and he's spotless and he's perfect. He changed it from that to a fast order cook, meaning I'm gonna get the knockout this time. This ain't going the distance at all. You're going to be stopped, which means the tactics change. And he's not as pretty as you're used to seeing Floyd and stuff like that. It was a different approach. To me, Floyd fought just like how he fought Zab Judah. Just like how he fought Victor Ortiz. Kept coming forward. Let's go. Putting the pressure on him.
That make it fast food? I mean, you it does. That make it fast food? Instead of a la carte steak? That's what I'm saying.
He made him go in there.
Listen.
And he made him flip cheeseburgers.
Listen.
He made him
there we go.
He made him do something.
Hold on, Teddy. Hold on, Teddy.
But his character allowed him still to walk the guy down.
Wait a minute, Teddy. What I'm saying to you is this. If you go to a restaurant to get some steak, some filet mignon, and instead you get a burger. Okay, ain't it a burger? I mean, it's just a burger. That's what we saw tonight. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He made the adjustment to be what he had to be. He had to be that.
It's still a cheeseburger. He had to be a steak. That's what I'm saying.
But who's eating it? It's like eating it. The other guy's not.
Was Floyd good?
So in other words, what Teddy Atlas is saying, which I think Stephen A. Smith still hasn't gotten, is he is the gourmet cook, but he has to do fast food. But the fast food is not for the opponent. Floyd is using the fast food for himself. In other words, he's feeding himself this stuff so he would speed up and get the knockout quicker. So yeah, he's not going to look as pretty and untouchable as when he's usually boxing and switching it up and changing looks and coming forward. You don't know if he's going backwards. And he's mesmerizing. He's not going to be that Floyd because he wants to get leverage into the punches. He wants to walk this guy down. He wants to put mental pressure on this guy and physical pressure on this guy. So he said Floyd needed to eat the fast food so he could move faster. And Stephen A. still missed it. Stephen A. Smith thinks he's saying he's making this fast food to give to you, the audience. No, he needs the fast food for himself. I think Teddy Atlas' analogy is brilliant, which Stephen A. Smith missed. And also, I don't think Stephen A. Smith understands boxing that much. I thought he did, but kind of falls short. Here's what Mike Tyson had to say about the fight. He himself was surprised.
Yeah. What was it like there? Because I was in the media tent a little bit away.
It was pretty exciting.
What did you think of McGregor's performance?
I thought he did great.
What would you give him a grade of?
Oh, man, he did, man. God, an A. He did great.
An A?
He did great. Guy that never did that before, and he went 10 rounds.
Pro debut, too, right?
Yeah, he only never fought before. Golly.
So you give him an A?
Yeah, he got a big set of balls.
just to change combat sports, right?
Just to go in the ring.
You have to give him a lot of credit. Now, what did you make of the fact that he got finished? That's to be expected, right? Because it is his pro debut.
Yeah, but he should have went down. The guy stopped a little too quick.
You think so?
Yeah.
But isn't taking a knee, wouldn't that be an example of like veteran experience?
Yes.
And I think that's kind of cost him a little bit, right?
Yes, it did.
Do you think McGregor should box again?
Well, he's capable of doing anything else. You know, he can do it if he wants to.
Would you recommend that or go back to the UFC?
I would say go back to the UFC, but if you get paid more money boxing, I would box.
Last question about this. Do you think Saturday was proof that MMA fighters are better at boxing than maybe some people thought? Not saying they're as good as pro boxers.
McGregor was better than I thought he was.
So, there you go. McGregor was better than he thought he was. Floyd did something that people didn't expect Floyd to do, even though he said he was going to do it. And that's what made the fight interesting. So that's why experts or purists like myself, we need to shut the hell up and watch a fight. Because we don't know 100% what will happen. And quite frankly, I was impressed with Conor. Yeah, he can box C-level and D-level fighters, man. Even C-plus level fighters. Just get the right fighter in front of him. I heard him and Paulie doing something. Look, man, Conor can do the UFC. And then if he wants to take a break, go into boxing and fight someone, he should fight Paulie. But he had to do that quick, though. Make some more paper, baby. Because Conor's got the potential. But he just has to build up more of the stamina, the conditioning for boxing. Okay? And Conor didn't know that Floyd was going to walk him down. He didn't expect that. Because a lot of people think, I don't know why they get this impression that Floyd is this guy who's a pretty boxer and he danced around the ring. No, man, Floyd didn't dance that day. Floyd wasn't dancing. He was flat-footed, walking to him, beating the shit out of him. And Conor does hit pretty hard. Because when Floyd got caught with the uppercut, Floyd didn't try to get a hit with the uppercut again. You know what I'm saying? And Conor is a long guy. All right, let's go to Sugar Shane Mosley. What was his impressions of this? Again, these are real professionals because they were actual fighters. Let's go.
So, what the?
So what was your overall takeaway? I thought it was just a good night for everybody. What was your takeaway?
I thought it was a great night for everybody. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought Conor McGregor did a great job for being, the first time fighting as a boxer from UFC. So he did sport, I think, proud.
He was long.
He was very long.
He was very long. And I think, Floyd I felt like Floyd had a game plan. Let him box himself out.
I think that he did the old rope-a-dope thing to McConnor. McConnor not knowing how to defend himself like that. Walking right to McConnor, let him throw all his punches they can throw and get himself tired and then walk him down, knock him out like he did.
Just want to say, though, it wasn't a rope-a-dope in the sense that there was no rope going on there. But I understand what he's saying. He got Conor to punch at his arms, punch at his guard mostly, and Floyd would walk to him. But that's very hard what Floyd did. Let me just say that. A lot of people don't understand what Floyd did. Floyd changed from being an outboxer or a mid-range boxer or even an in-fighter to a pressure fighter. So Floyd became the pressure fighter in this fight. And Floyd changed up styles completely. And he started to bob and weave. He started to dip. He started to slip and slide. And he started to fight on the inside. He would use the long spear straight lead right, which is like a jab to the southpaw. He'd also land some left hooks and some right hooks, but mostly he used that lead right jab to the body. Then he would mix it up faint as if he was going to go low, go high. But that's about it. And he would snap back, and then he would keep the high guard for the rest of the stuff and just absorb, catch punches with his elbows and his hands. Sometimes his body get hit, sometimes his face could get hit, pop with a jab because Conor's a long dude. The one thing about Conor I realized is just like with Thomas the Hitman Hearns, his power really comes with full extension. So if Conor can't fully extend, he can't really get this full power behind his punches. I liked his disruptive punches with the jab. I liked how he switched. He had very quick footwork. He could get to the side of Floyd and many other things, because Floyd was more flat-footed in this fight to get more leverage in his power. And Floyd was hitting pretty hard, okay? But yeah, there you go. Shane Mosley, surprised by Conor McGregor. So all of these purists, they surprise, you know, these so-called boxing experts. Here's Evander Holyfield's take.
Well, I knew that both of the guys were very tough, and it was kind of close fight for a minute. You were stressing out those first 4 or 5 rounds? No, I wasn't stressing out because I don't have nobody. But the fact is, I knew it would be a good fight. I knew that neither one of the guys would give up. I knew he was a tough guy. MMA guy, he's tough. And then, he got long arms and stuff like that. So, I realized that, he wasn't going to be accustomed to the condition. He was, I think, what did he do, 5 minutes around? 5 minutes. Well, yeah, I'm saying, but, but when you go 3 minutes, it's different. It's different. You get catch it, know when to catch a win and all that. I personally think that you should have waited till he got knocked down. If it's 3 knock him down, just so stop the fight. He fought a great fighter, man. This guy beat a lot of people. I don't care. You get one of them guys in there, he beat the daylights out of you guys. I'm telling you, he's a tough guy. I'm telling you, it was a good fight. I'm glad that the people were pleased. They got what they want. They seen Floyd do something they ain't seen him do in a long time. Go for it. Tucking shots and stuff like that. He came for it.
Cham, a lot of people disagreed with this fight taking place. They said it was an event rather than a boxing fight. Conor just took Floyd 10 rounds. Would you like to see more UFC fighters in the boxing ring, or do you disagree?
Well, anything that help the sport. Both of them are competitive sport. Both of them different. I'm saying the fact is that, you know what? I knew that McGregor is a tough guy. Anybody's in that tough. They get hit with elbows, knees, and all this, get choked and all that. Man, that's quite different. It was, the thing is that I knew that he had to be in great condition, and eventually the tempo that they have in boxing, throwing the arm that many times, I know that the shoulder's going to get tired. What's going to happen there?
How good did Floyd look today? He had almost 2 years out of the ring. He's 40 years old. There's been only a few people in history above the age of 40 who continue to accomplish titles and victories. But how good was Floyd today?
Well, my own thing is that, for the guy that he fought, he's like, he did what it took. Because the fact of the matter, to fight somebody, this guy, grab him by the thing and hit him in the head. There's a lot of things that Floyd had to put up with to stay cool. I'm sure they thought he was going to lose his composure because this guy was hooking him and hitting him. Like this is, I'm not the referee was calling everything. Because he kind of knew that this is what this guy was accustomed to do. And he was popping him on the head and stuff like that. I'm just show a lot of patience.
I love how Evander Holyfield here covered this, because there was a little bit of dirty stuff from Conor. It wasn't completely clean, but again, very good stuff. All right, this first
statement. That was the best version of what that fight could have possibly been. And I want to start out by saying Conor McGregor deserves enormous credit. He is an exceptional fighter. Even among champions, he stands out. And what stood out to me for Conor, the boxer, is, first of all, he's making his pro debut against one of the best fighters ever. I'm going to get to the age stuff and everything in a second. And he's early on doing enough to stay in the fight. That's amazing. Even the fact that he went 10 rounds in his pro debut is amazing. And how is he able to have any success at all? He is not only incredibly determined with a huge heart, and athletic. By the way, when you see one fighter get around another fighter as Conor did to Floyd, he was, and like actually step behind him, that means that his feet are faster. It means he's younger, or at least more athletic. That's a huge thing. Conor's athletic, energetic, determined. His preparation is clearly there. But more than anything, Stephen A., it's his fighting brain. Conor McGregor, as most great fighters have, has an extremely high fighting IQ. It's the reason he didn't really hit Mayweather with anything hard. He didn't load up on any punches. He had the uppercut in the first round, and he hit him maybe, and I know I said he would not even land a glove on Mayweather, not a clean punch. And I have a lot of people on Twitter saying, he landed 111 punches. No, he didn't. But Conor did land about 10 or a dozen punches over the course of 10 rounds, which is actually more than most fighters land cleanly against Mayweather. Jabs and body punches included. Those are punches. 10 or 12. Maybe 2 or 3 of them had a little something on them. But basically, they were quick-handed arm punches. In boxing, that means you don't get your body behind them. Because Conor is smart enough to know if I try to load up on something, I'm not going to hit Floyd. So he quick punched him. He used his speed and hit him with arm punches. There was nothing on the punches. Floyd really gave him the first 3 rounds because Floyd didn't punch in the first 3 rounds. He was just kind of walking McGregor down, and then starting in the 4th round, he started fighting, and that was the end of the fight. The fight wasn't, once Floyd started fighting in the 4th round, the fight was over, and that was the fight I expected to see from the beginning, from the 4th round on. But Floyd thought clearly, this guy's never, a pro debut, he's going to gas, and then I'll knock him out, which is what happened.
So, I just want to say, Max Kellerman, who said Conor McGregor had no chance of even touching Floyd, touched him. And he had to go back on that. And my point being, we sometimes are overly... I was thinking Pacquiao was going to whitewash Jeff Horn, for instance, guys. I don't know what your opinions were. I said Pacquiao knocking out Jeff Horn. Who's Jeff Horn? Jeff Horn goes and beats Pacquiao. And I look at the fight and I'm like, damn, Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao. I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm watching this. Because I literally had to score for Jeff Horn. And, some of you guys were saying, I'm disappointed in you, what you need, because you said that a fighter is judged on 4 criteria and Pacquiao had 4. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, because Pacquiao hardly landed anything of substance on Jeff Horn because he couldn't get punches off, period. Jeff Horn was not only smothering his punches, but he was roughing him up on the inside and landing punches. He wasn't as clean as Pacquiao, but he was the guy more active, and he was the guy landing more punches. And he was pushing Pacquiao back. And while, you could say that about Floyd Mayweather, you're pushing him back, Floyd lands clean punches. All right, and he changes the fight. You can see the fight going in his direction. However, Pacquiao did change the fight in the 9th round. I was hoping that he would stop Jeff Horn. I actually was disappointed that he lost the fight, but I knew that Pacquiao took Jeff Horn for granted mentally. And that's the difference between Floyd and any other boxer in the history of boxing. Boxers lose fights because they take their opponents for granted. Muhammad Ali, he lost to help me out here, Joe Frazier. He lost to Joe Frazier. That first fight he lost, that was a pivotal fight. He lost that fight to Joe Frazier because he took Joe for granted. He said, "Oh, he's just a bull coming through, and he's a gorilla." He never took Joe seriously. He thought he had Joe Frazier figured out, right? Costamato was talking to Muhammad Ali about coming low and landing punches. Muhammad Ali wouldn't listen. He said, he's too slow for me and stuff. Okay. Took him for granted. Alright? Don't ever take your opponents for granted. Floyd never takes his opponents for granted. Always respects them. Because he says anything can happen in that ring. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, the more a fight is a mismatch, the more is a dangerous fight, especially from an unknown opponent. And I wanted to just share with people in the business who recanted on what they said and was impressed by Conor McGregor's performance, And guys like Teddy Atlas, guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, even guys like Evander Holyfield gave Floyd indirect praise for saying how he kept his composure. Remember, he's a 40-year-old man. Sugar Ray Leonard was impressed with Floyd in that his strategy and how he thought through the fight. And of course, Teddy Atlas was talking about how Floyd needed to be this way, and he was. Paulie Malignaggi said it best. He said Floyd coming forward against Conor McGregor takes away his awkwardness. But Floyd had to close the distance. And believe you me, what Floyd did, which is keeping your guard high, walking to a guy, staying barely on the edge of range, and then you bob and weave, you dip, you slip and slide, or you counter to get on the inside, is a very difficult thing to do, how Floyd is doing it. You will see very few fighters do it. I was looking at my boy, Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's a hell of a boxer too. But he don't do that. He can't bob and weave. He can't do those things. He has to wait for his opponent to come to him to counter. That's another way to close the distance. So he will counter off his opponent. Floyd can actually initiate, lead, and still anticipate, slip, slide, bob, weave to get to the inside. And you saw Floyd acting as a pressure fighter. That's very rarely done with Floyd Mayweather. When he was Pretty Boy Floyd, he did it. When he was against Zab Judah, he did it. Victor Ortiz, and at welterweight, he very rarely walked guys down for the entire fight. He did it with Zab Judah. He did it with Victor Ortiz. Who else did he do it with? I don't know who else he did it with. But if Floyd had to come get you, he can do it. He got the skill set in the tank. He got that mindset, that business sense, that mental acumen to be able to change completely his style and go with a totally different style. And that's what you saw in this fight. So, again, I had to eat my words too. So, guys, don't feel how about it. Mayweather versus McGregor was actually a much better fight than I thought. Was it a mismatch fight? Not as much. Skill-wise, not so much. Because Conor McGregor brings that range and reach. The dimensions of McGregor made the fight very interesting. Was Mayweather was this fight a fraud? Absolutely not. People didn't feel it was a fraud. They felt they got their money's worth. It went for a distance that was something that everybody could be satisfied with. The finish, most people wanted to see it finish a little bit more in a definitive way. They felt that the referee kind of saved Conor. Some people felt he saved Conor. Some other people felt that he came in too soon and he was working for Floyd. So he had the two different spectrums. Skip Bayless, oh God bless his soul, he's way off field, but he feels that Conor was saved. He even thinks that Conor hit Floyd with a legitimate shot in the 9th round instead of a low blow. But anyway, guys, leave your comments in the comment section below. Share, comment, subscribe, donate. I gotta go. You guys have a great one.